Thank you, Acting Deputy President. Now, when I hear my senators in this chamber call for a CDC, you know what I think of? I think of more government control. I think of more bureaucracy. I think of all the garbage that came along with the previous pandemic, which we just had, the so-called COVID pandemic, the pandemic that only happened on the TV screen. Anyway, I rise here to support Senator Hanson's bill to end vaccine mandates. I think it's about time that we end vaccine mandates. It's been since 2020. 4 years, and we've still got vaccine mandates for a virus with a near 100% survival rate, for a virus that didn't do anything to you unless you were already on your way out the door, if I can use that analogy. Absolute freaking garbage. Now, the fact that we are debating whether or not people can be discriminated against on the basis of a COVID-19 vaccine, it beggars belief. That's what it does, it beggars belief. We are still having this debate right now, August 2024, long, say it again, long after the perceived threat of COVID has passed, and get this, after the vaccine has been exposed as being less safe and, of course, less effective than was originally pitched by those in positions of great power. Now, we hear senators stand up in this place all the time, riling against discrimination of all kinds, on a regular basis, I might add. Now, discrimination in this place, you all consider it a dirty, obscene, hateful thing. You all say that, don't you? Except on this one issue. Except on the issue of a novel COVID-19 mRNA vaccine. And you know what? Suddenly all those senators shocked at any kind of discrimination suddenly transform themselves into serious rule makers and strict regulation enforcers. Let's be real, in my opinion, they transform into authoritarian human rights abusers. Now, if we were discussing abortion as an example, I wouldn't be able to count to 10 before the outrage mob demands that I be cancelled. And they have demanded, by the way, but they haven't succeeded because I'm built different and I don't care what you think, you outrage mob. Now, I'm sure that many in this place would stand and eloquently present the sacred principle of bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy, if I was talking about abortion. They would defend a woman's right to kill her baby, which is what this is. Tell me this, what kind of society applauds the murder, cheers on the murder of their own children? That is a society in decline. That is a sick society that will soon cease to exist. Now, when it comes to the matter of whether people should be forced or not forced to take a COVID-19 vaccine on threat of losing their job, bodily autonomy is suddenly about as popular as bat soup in Wuhan. That's what it is, bat soup in Wuhan. I've been calling it a vaccine, but let's be honest, it's not a vaccine. It's not a vaccine. It's a product. It's a product that does not give you lifelong immunity, but you know what it does instead? It turns you into a big pharma client for the rest of your life. It turns you into a pincushion. That's what it does. That's what it does, a pincushion. A lot of people think that big pharma is here to help, and maybe they are sometimes, but what does big pharma love most? Big pharma loves repeat business. It's what they love. They love repeat business. And through this novel mRNA COVID technology, they have just that. They have customers for life. It's something that needs to be talked about, and it's something that we don't talk about enough in this place and everywhere else in society. Now, why would the Victorian health system continue to penalise people for not having had the COVID jab when we know that the COVID jab does not stop you from catching or transmitting COVID? Doesn't stop you from catching it, doesn't stop you from transmitting it. Why are we mandating this garbage? Why would so many job advertisements continue to insist that they want people who have had this COVID jab, when we know that the COVID jab is also not entirely safe or free of serious side effects, including death, which I'm sure you would agree is pretty darn serious as a side effect, right? Now, you don't have to be jabbed to be in this chamber, and thank God for that, because I'm not and I never will be, but you do have to be jabbed to fight fires in Victoria. How does that make any sense at all? How does that make sense? You've got to be jabbed to go and fight a fire. I mean, come on, it's 2024. I mean, maybe we can forgive the hysteria back in 2020 because the mainstream media, Big Pharma, the globalists at the WHO, all these jabronis were, pushing this issue hard. Maybe we can forgive what happened in 2020, but we can't forgive it now. It's time for change. Now, we're talking about Victoria. It's silly to expect anything in my home state to make sense after so many years of Labor mismanagement. So many years. You know what we have in Victoria, in my opinion? Labor has been in power for far too long. And when you're in power for far too long, what happens? You get stale. You put all your apparatchiks in the important positions. That's what happens. And we're at a point now where we really don't have any more competition. They've kind of wiped out the Libs in Victoria. They've wiped them out into irrelevance. I mean, that's good for Labor and their socialist agenda. Bad for the Libs, though. I mean, hopefully they can pull their finger out and do a bit better than what they're doing at the moment, and bring forth some good policy and start standing up against these people. But I digress. Why would we continue to penalise people for not having had the COVID jab when it is now accepted by almost everyone, well, apart from the hypochondriacs, of course, and the people whose ex-bios still have, those little syringes in the bios, along with the Ukraine flag and the LGBTQIA2S+ flag and all the other garbage, or photos of themselves on their social media, still wearing masks to this day. Ridiculous. COVID is not a serious illness. It's just not. I mean, I'm sure you all know someone in here who's had COVID and they've been just fine. But yet, of course, sure, COVID can be fatal. Sure it can. If you've got serious comorbidities, okay, fair enough. Or if you're 85 years of age, but so can the flu. So can the regular flu. Did we shut down the nation for the flu? Did we impose mandates? Did we lock you in your house? Did we do what Victoria did and say you can't go 5Ks from your house? Because if you go 5Ks from your house, the virus will get ya. If you go 1K, no worries. Back in Victoria, if you went to a restaurant, right? You can't stand up. If you stand up, trust the science, the virus will get ya. It's going to get ya. Sit down though, no problem. You're safe. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, do we insist that people are vaccinated against the flu before we employ them? Of course not. So why on this issue? As I said, it doesn't make any sense at all. But not only is it senseless, it's hypocritical and it is morally wrong. Now, the only reason that I can see for continuing COVID vaccine mandates in certain industries is pig-headedness. That's it. I get it. Having enforced mandates to now drop them out of the blue, just drop them, is something of an admission of error. And who wants to admit error? But on this point, I'll give credit to one man, the former New South Wales Premier, Dominic Perrottet, who in his valedictory speech admitted that the COVID-19 mandates were in fact a mistake. Now, his admission, sadly, it comes a little late for those who are already forced to take the vaccine against their will under his government, which I might add, it was a Liberal government. Liberal Party, have you read your We Believe statement lately? Might be time for you to jump on your website and read your We Believe statement. because let's face it, you're being wiped into obscurity very slowly because you don't stand up for your own principles. You know what, Liberal Party? If you want to win elections, if you want to take back the states from the socialists, just stick to your principles. You don't need to do anything else. Read your We Believe statement. Read the speeches by that great man Menzies. Have a look at it and just do what he said. Do what he said. You don't need to reinvent anything. Just do that. Because if you don't, you're going to continue to slide into the nothingness that you are becoming. And you're going to continue to embolden the crossbench. And you know what? My time will come. May not be today, but my time will come. Now, Perrottet. At least Perrottet admitted publicly that his policy was wrong. At least that. And you know what? It should have never been enforced in the first place, but at least he admitted it. Now, the reluctance to admit to error, I think it's just stubbornness. That's what it is. It's stubbornness. Are we pushing people today? Are we pushing them? Not for medical reasons, not for scientific reasons, but for reasons of pride. Are we pushing them to get to have the mandates on them still because of reasons of pride? Is that what's going on? I think maybe it is. Now, certain senators, bureaucrats, employers, they still simply don't want to admit that they potentially got it wrong. They don't want to admit. Now, pride does not make for good public policy or the fair treatment of citizens. It just does not. Vaccine mandates. 2024, vaccine mandates for an illness that in the vast majority of people is nothing but a cold do not make sense. And they'll never make sense in any context whatsoever. Now, I wholeheartedly support Senator Hanson's bill. I urge my fellow senators to do the same. I don't know if they will. Probably not, because you know what? You don't have a backbone. You can't stand on your own. You can't just say, you know what, no. You can't just say no to the apparatchiks in the background, the bureaucrats that influence your decision-making. Stand on your own 2 feet. Be a man. Have some kahunas and do what's right for your country. Do what's right for your people. Don't do what the little insects in the bureaucracy want you to do. All the ministers in this place, I can't stand you guys. You don't make decisions. You don't make decisions for yourself. You always defer back to the bureaucracy. Am I right or what? I know you do. Stop referring to the bureaucracy. Make the decisions. Take accountability. You know, you were elected to basically run the show. Don't let the bureaucrats tell you what to do, those insects, which is what they are. They are insects. You know what I would do? If I was ever in government, the very first thing that I would do is sack half of these bureaucrats. I'd put them out on their butts and I'd say, you're never working for the public service again, you bums. Get out of here. Thank you.